first off, can you tell me what your name is and how you can spell it?
Traditional spelling for both, Robert White.
Okay, perfect. My name's Robert as well, so
Okay.
that's good. Robert, can you tell me, a lot of people, including us from Indiana, that's outside this Ferguson area, we're seeing on TV and the media kind of portraying it a little different about, riots and violence and, the theme that we're kind of getting here now that we're actually here is that it's completely different than that. You guys aren't wanting violence and crime and riots and stuff like that. Can you kind of elaborate on, what is different here in Ferguson and what people are seeing on TV?
Well, the first few days, Robert, it was a war zone out here. And so I'm glad that it was depicted as such, because it should have been shame from our governor, shame on our mayor, shame upon our country that tanks were in here, our people were being tear gas, shot, maimed, dogs were coming down on them. And I don't want that to be pushed under the rug lightly. Not saying that was a reflection on Ferguson, reflection on St. Louis, it was a reflection on America. And so I'm glad that that picture went out on what was happening. The looting, the rioting, that's years of oppression, years of disenfranchisement. And so folks have been frustrated and have had built up anger for years. There's a generation of people out here who don't know what it means to drive without being labeled as driving while black. I remember driving a Mercedes in high school and didn't have to worry about that. Now as a 40-year-old man, I'm afraid to drive through certain areas, of which Ferguson was one of them, in which we will be constantly harassed by the police officers. So those first few days, that wasn't a joke, that wasn't made up, that's what was going on. But what happened since then is that the community united. The real leaders emerged. Those who weren't looking for prime time television shots, but who was really looking for change. And then we began to unite. We began to cross genders, cross religion, cross race. And then we said, we're not gonna take enough. We're not gonna take it anymore. Enough is enough. And so what you're seeing now is the true heart of Ferguson, the true heart of St. Louis, the true heart of the United States. And what we're saying is these are civilian people, civilized people, hardworking people, people who deserve a right to eat, sleep, and play in peace. But we also demand justice. We also demand a fair shake. And so now what we want the media to do is change the headlines, change the topics. No longer the riots of Ferguson, but the return of Ferguson, the restoration of Ferguson. And if they can do that, if you guys can do that, then we'll show a true image of how America, who was built on the backs of people who was downtrodden, can take a downtrodden group of people, a downtrodden civilization, and see it turn back and be revitalized.
Do you think that's going to happen with the media?
On my life, I guarantee it.
No, that's a perfect, you kind of left me speechless. That's a perfect response. Have you noticed, all the media just came crashing into Ferguson when there were the riots and everything going on, but, like you mentioned, it's kind of dissipated and now you're seeing a little more unity.
But that's because we're as strategic as you all are. CNN sends particular people to particular areas. They have trucks down on what they call ground zero. Then they have trucks up on the safe land. So we strategically have to put the right people in front of the cameras. We can't put those of us who don't have the education, those of us who are so angry that we can't speak fluently. So we have to strategically place people in front of the cameras, in front of the microphones, so that we can represent the true essence of who we are as a people.
Do you think that takes a toll on people here in Ferguson, that you gotta play out a strategy in order to work with the media?
It can, if you're not. Life is a game. Well, there's winning or there's misery. So the misery is when you're not winning. And so rather than sit around and be miserable, we've decided to come together to win. And I'd rather take a stressful time to try to plan to be successful than to respond to the stuff that has been happening to us. Yeah.
I like that. You guys have any questions?
I think we should get some more.
You're a perfect interview, that's
that
for sure.
That was a compliment, so
yeah.
I took it as such.
No, like we said, we're trying to...
It's like make up a question.
I'm just thinking, we've got all of them written down, I just can't remember. The misrepresentation he touched on the police force, the media.
Well, let me give you something.
Absolutely.
Okay, yeah.
I love that.
What you just witnessed out here was the reward for the risk that we've taken. This Clergy United is a group of pastors who have walked away from the pulpit and decided to come together to fight. We've risked our lives for the last 2 weeks. We've been on the front line. Starting our tent at noon, we're leaving at 4 a.m. We have wives, we have children, we have all of this businesses and jobs. But we put it all on the line for the sake to bring peace to Ferguson. And what you witnessed today with the galvanizing of different communities, different churches, it made it all worthwhile. But now here come phase 2. Phase 2 is we're going to challenge the people of Ferguson to get out and vote. We're going to challenge the people of Ferguson to join the police department, to join the school board, so that the numbers that are so disproportionate, we can't just blame Ferguson politics on it. We got to blame ourselves. I'm included. I didn't vote last time. Now I'm not a member of Ferguson, but I'm a county resident. I didn't vote. And we who wanted to have Bob McCullough excused or recused, we could have had him not elected because there was an African-American woman running against him. We only had 15% of the turnout, which caused us to lose those elections. Gotta sneeze.
Bless you.
I'm battling the cold because my body is weak and it can't protect itself.
Yeah.
And so the challenge is that the gangbangers need to put down their weapons and their bandanas. The lazy fathers or the deadbeat dads, they're going to have to step and be men. The mothers who are built up on welfare systems, they have to get out and get re-educated. And then we have to challenge them to each one teach one. The excuse of, oh, I'm a felon, I can't vote. So one of the things that we decided to do last night by the Spirit of God is a felon is going to partner with a non-felon. And they're going to become like Alcoholic Anonymous does, where they have partners. And so if I can't vote, I'm going to vicariously vote through you. And I'm going to take you to the poll to vote for us. Because I'm going to help you research the ballots. I'm going to help you research the propositions that are on there. And I might not be filling out that ballot, but through your pen and through your ID, we're going to vote together. And we're going to move that 15% turnout prayerfully to about 85%.
So is it fair to say that, I mean, in a dark and depressing time, obviously, with the death of Mike Brown, but it seems like what you're trying to say is you're trying to turn this into a positive and completely change Ferguson altogether.
In the beginning, the Bible says the world was without form and darkness roamed on the face of the deep. And out of that darkness, God spoke. And he said, let there be light. And the Bible says, and there was light. So through this darkness, through this death, through the destruction of the black community, we're going to bring light from this. We're going to speak. We're going to let our voices be heard so that light can come forth. And then all the other things that created after that can come forth.